guys, how's it going? So this is our second project of the day. We just finished planting the big black square containers in the cut flower garden. You may have noticed the plants I had in the back of the gator along with all of the pretty annuals that just went in. I have a clematis vine that I think is the prettiest clematis I have ever had in my possession. And then some really, really pretty salvia that we're gonna add to the west side garden over here. Also we have cheddar. What are you doing, dude? Look at these plants. Have you ever seen a clematis as beautiful as this? I mean, in its container. That's the thing, like once they get in the landscape and they start growing, they can get really thick and covered in blooms, but I'm not sure that I have seen one this covered in color still in its nursery container. And I mean, it's got buds everywhere on it. They're just popping up all over. And when I bought this early on this season, I'm not even sure that it had any green leaves on it yet. It may have still been dormant. I can't really remember. I've had it for a little while, but it's called Still Waters. And this one starts blooming usually late spring and goes all the way through late summer, just providing tons of color in a part sun to full sun location. Usually what they say is that clematis want to have sun on their faces and shade on their feet. So you want to plant it somewhere where its feet, its roots can stay cool, but it still gets enough sun up top to produce a lot of flowers. It grows anywhere from 4 to 8 feet tall and spreads out about 3 feet. And we are going to plant it on the fence in the raised bed vegetable garden. Now this one is super easy to take care of. It's a type that you just cut back, I think, to about 2 feet above the ground every spring, and then it comes back. It blooms on both new and old wood. So it comes back and blooms beautifully for you every season, and there's not a lot of guesswork because, you know, some clematis, depending on what type they are, you have to be a little bit careful about when you prune them. And did I already say zone? It's a zone 5 through 9. And then we've got this pink profusion salvia, which I'm fairly certain I have showed you in a few other videos. We've got some of this already on the end of our west side garden, so if we kind of span this way slowly, I don't know if you can see the color peeking up over there, but what I would like to do is add a little bit more of that interest down on this side. I kind of want to do a lot of pinks, purples, whites, and a lot of repeat pockets of color. So I've got a few of these to add in right next to some ladies' mantle over here. They grow about 16, well, maybe 14 to 16 inches tall, about 20 inches wide, and they're just phenomenal. They keep a very compact habit. But the thing I like the best, when you stack these up against other salvias, you'll notice that the calyx that holds the blooms on, it's like a dark burgundy pink color, and it maintains that color. So after the lighter pink blooms dry up and fall off when they're all done blooming, like, let's see, I don't know if we can find one. This is a pretty fresh plant, but anyway, once those petals fall off, the color of the calyx is still there, and so you don't feel like the plant looks messy because it still looks like it's in some form of bloom. And the pollinators love this salvia. But let's take one of these over here. I think this is the one we'll plant first. Kind of show you what I'm thinking. See the ladies' mantle, and we just planted the phlox recently. So I'm thinking of putting just a little pocket of pink right in here. I think that'll look really nice. We've got Royal Jubilee David Austin rose right there, which is a very deep saturated pink. And then up next to all the other colors in here, I think that'll be a nice addition. So I think we should just start with getting the salvia in the ground, then we'll move over to the raised bed garden and get the clematis in, then I will give you a tour. All right, guys, look at that. Isn't that the most perfect color layer right there? Oh, I love it. Now we've got to decide what to put right behind it, like in between the urn and the rose, just for a little bit of maybe like a some type of a grass in there for grassy texture. I really like the iris texture in here. I think that's really nice and kind of more bold. So I think I need something maybe like that kind of behind that salvia, but oh, let's take a look from back here. Let's go underneath the rose arch, which is loaded with buds. This is going to be a glorious show this year. But look, as we enter the west side garden, look at the, kind of looks like blue, and then green, and then pink, and you see the white. Oh, it's so pretty. I love it. It's so fun to not have to worry about evergreen structure like winter interest, because this area is chock full of it. I mean, we've got the arbed wall here. We've got the urns, which count as winter interest. We've got the trees here, and then all the boxwoods on this side. There are a couple of evergreens down toward that end, but I am not worried about it in this bed right here. This is a bed just for fun, colorful, beautiful things, while not worrying about making sure it looks good in the winter too, because this area does look pretty in the winter already. So that's the little spot I was talking about. So we can do something kind of tallish in that area. And we'll just keep working our way down. That's the way I work best, usually, is just starting at one end and going for it. I need to blow off the sidewalk a bit, but you can kind of see the view from this side. I think that salvia looks gorgeous with the planters we recently did too. The pink and the pink. Oh, it's so pretty, you guys. Oh. And equally as pretty is that clematis over here. It's on the opposite side of the garden. Everything's looking great in here. Growing like crazy. Okay, so on this fence right here, we have another colette, which is just starting to open. This one always blooms before the other one, so you can see a little bit of color. I've got another type of clematis right here, which I cannot remember the name of the variety, but you can see the buds right here. They open up deep purple and they're downturned like little ballerina skirts. Absolutely gorgeous, and it has grown so much, and that's kind of the reason why I decided to put the clematis over here, because this one's done so well. It's planted on the other side, so you can see this clematis is planted right here on the other side, right at the base of this colette, and I kind of wanted them to intermix a bit. I have not developed these flower beds hardly at all. In fact, I think we're going to cut the grass out here and retool, but this is where the other clematis went. And I think it's going to love it, because you guys, it can grow up on the fence and get all kinds of sun, but the roots will be slightly shaded here because this is the north side of this fence. You can see I did mulch. I only had one bag of mulch, or compost rather, I used as mulch, just to further keep the roots cooler. I did run an individual emitter to it. There is a couple of drip tubes, so you can see one here, but it runs along the bottom of the clematis, and this clematis is kind of planted up on top of a little hill, if you can call it that. There is an incline to this bed. So it's planted at the top, and I thought, you know, if that drip tube runs below, it's not going to really get enough water up there. So I ran an individual emitter up to it, so it should be happy. But with this one growing 4 to 8 feet tall, we can train it on this fence, and you can see the colette has already made its way all the way over here. Look at all the buds. So it's just going to be an absolutely stunning show. I love it. And I do think I'm going to cut this flower bed out too. That's kind of the plan. Kind of broaden this out a bit and add some pretty things in here. And it is starting to heat up a little bit. We have one 90-degree day on the forecast, which is honestly cooler than most years at about this time of the year. So I'm not going to complain at all about it. Then it's going to get a little cooler again. So we're going to start seeing a lot more action once we get a little bit more warmth out here. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. It's just so much fun to share the process of this garden. And you know, it's just a little bit of this and that as we go along. I rarely put together an entire garden. Do I ever put together an entire garden all at the same time? Does anybody ever do that? So it's fun just to show you what things go in next and what kind of the thought process is. And sometimes it changes completely. Like on the west side where we just planted the salvia, I thought I was going to do a moon garden there. Tried it out with annuals, thankfully, instead of putting the time into planting perennials and such, and didn't really love it there, so I was able to retool. Anyway, it's just an evolving process. So all that said, thank you guys for watching this video, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.